your room because I actually wanted to know more about what's Soulan, and I know you all, first of all, the correct pronunciation, and B, do you mind doing a room reset before you bow out? Simply just for me, please. I'm trying to understand because I've seen this circulating around, but I have no idea what's going on. So I'd rather hear it from you than make assumptions.
Yes, absolutely. President.
Yeah, thanks for letting me grab a mic, yo. Great space. I missed this. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the recording. It's a lot of infiltrators and interlopers just on this term alone. I'm going to ask you this question in the back channel because I don't want to give people any ideas, just in case you guys haven't covered that base yet. So I'll be hitting you guys up in the back channel. But I'm gonna make a observation. I see that our youth have really embraced the term, and it led me to speculate. It's like, okay, so what happens when many of us, myself, I'm an older gentleman, 45, I'm no longer on this planet, and we decide that the current name that is given to us by white people under a system of white supremacy, that we decide to empower ourselves and name ourselves. And I was like, okay, what if they decide, our youth decide to use that name? I actually like it. I'm actually enthused about it. I thought it was very creative. It means a lot. I'm actually expecting a child. I'm gonna use that as a middle name. If that's okay, because I like it that much. So I'm like, what if our youth decide to adopt that name on a legal basis in the future? So that's why I want to ask you some questions in the background because that could be a possibility, or it might be something else. And I'm completely open to our youth, which will be our future, deciding what they want to do going forward. But my only thing is, and maybe you guys will answer that question when I re-listen to the space. Will it be grounded in the protection of our lineage and the empowerment of our lineage? As long as that's the case, and ain't on no Pan African shit, because I was a little concerned when I was hearing all these different conflicting stories, and it looked like there was evidence they were actually trying to intercept this thing and get ahead of it and hijack it, like other groups always try to do with stuff that's created by Black Americans. But I'm starting to see it's not. You guys, his head was in the right place, so I'm highly encouraged by that. But yeah, I'll get back in the back channel and ask you guys a particular question. You guys probably already on top of it. You guys seem like two sharp brothers, and I appreciate the space. That's all I got.
Absolutely, yes. Send us any questions, inquiries that you may have to either one of us. That's fine. Um,
Yeah, and I just want to speak to like one thing he said, because literally the term literally started on people, um, out basically melanated people abroad, taking advantage of terms like Black American and African American, and you just seen it. It was a mess during that time, and that was like at at the upheat of diaspora wars and everything, and people were claiming everything Black Americans did. So that was literally where the term sprung out from, and I'm happy that a lot of younger Black Americans took heed to that because I think that's why they did it just because the upheat and the diaspora wars, and I don't I yeah I don't really I was just, you feel me? Because it was a war zone out there. It was a war zone in, on TikTok and all these other places. So, I think that's where, like, majority of younger Black Americans, actually adopted the term and, took pride in it. It was around that time. So,
And
absolutely.
let me speak
Uh,
on true
well,
allyship. Like I know the people who identify with Solon with two A's. Uh, I've seen a lot of posts like people standing in solidarity and stuff like that. So solidarity and allyship is a two-way street. I just want to say that these groups of people that you want to have solidarity with, they better advocate for us like you guys advocate for them, and that's all I had to say. So I'm gonna let my play.
yeah, honestly don't have no problem with like solidarity or anything like that. I mean, Black Americans, we don't really need it but
We
it's
don't
all
at
about,
all.
yeah, we don't. I mean, it's all about advancement for us. So if you come with something that's worth, allying with, then I guess we can, because it got to be about business. If it's not if it's not about business, then it cannot be. It's no way we can work that out. So I would say if we were to like have a like a allyship with one of these anybody outside of our lineage, then it would have to be about event. It have to be about
Some money, be honest. Some
yeah,
tangible.
honestly, about business. Exactly.
DJ Big A.
My bad, my bad. Hey, what's up with it? Look, so I get y'all sentiment and all of that. Me personally, I really don't care for all these acronyms, and because I mean we black folks and we shouldn't be letting anybody call themselves black whatsoever. But hey, I'm cool with it. My problem is it seems like this name has been hijacked by a bunch of young Pan Africanists. I think Midnight just woke it up. That's what been my biggest problem is running across these people on TikTok, going into these lives, and they want to stand in solidarity with a bunch of foreigners who don't even care. They be disrespectful, and then they want to push back against Black Americans when we standing on business. So what I'm asking, because what it really just seemed like when I come across this name and these people that's representing hard, they using our colors and turning it into some old Pan Africanist crap um, in a light version. You know what I mean? And then they all say they're not panties, but everything that come out their mouth is Pan Africanist. So that's what I'm trying to clear up is if, I mean, if y'all want to stand it's like you just said it yourself, like they got to come on business, but ain't nobody coming with any business, so why even have that on the table in the first place? That's my question.
Well, like I said before, Soulan, it was more so about black advancement and protecting our lineage and culture. That's what it was mainly about. Like the origins of it, really, it's not like it don't really start on Pan Africanism because the origins of it was literally based on motherfuckers claiming everything we've did as a people and taking it for themselves. So that's literally what it started on. So it was never started on Pan African. Of course, it got co-opted, and that's why you have the creators and the co-creators here today to, speak on that.
Right, right, and I understand that, but me personally, I'm like, we fight for what's ours. We don't just keep coming up with different names. They just gonna keep hijacking them anyway. So I mean, we just fight. I'm cool with people, but it seemed like with all these acronyms, like I never had a problem with them. It's like just seeing how, like, even coming over to Twitter Spaces, how they divide up our group of people. Like these people say, oh, I'm ADOS. These people say I'm FBA. These people say, you know what I mean? Like I'm just tired of the damn acronym and name game. Like, look, we black. We tell other people they not. Now, if you want to go up under them other banners and all that other shit, that's cool. But just know that we are the black people, and we can all identify up under that, and tell these other people that they not.
Yeah, that's all fine and dandy and everything, but at the end of the day, I think Solon is very important because black is a homograph. When we say black on the world scale, everybody does not think of it initially as an ethnicity. They think of it as a race, and it is now a race category globally, and it is from an American standard. So yes, black is from our standard. It is something that is specifically for Black Americans, but because it is convoluted with race now, um, ethnicity comes second. So in some regards, I think Solon is is needed and is respected now. We have come together as the creators to make sure that we have drawn the line as to what it means and where it's going, and so that all these other narratives are now squandered. In 2024, some people have just been misunderstanding or purposely convoluting what it means to be black in America. you'll have foreigners that will come in and say that, well, because I'm racially black and I'm black in America, that means I'm an African American or I'm a black American. And technically, they're not incorrect because if they're
But
in some
listen
degree,
to this, bro. Listen to
right,
this. So with y'all Solon thing, right? The
right,
name itself and the way people are using it, they running around saying I'm proudly African American. That's literally what they saying.
right,
And there's already names that that's specify us as freedmen. I mean, freedman is one of those. So we don't really need a new name.
no, we
My
don't
thing
need
is
it.
when
I
people
don't.
say black culture, nobody's thinking of an African or a Jamaican or anybody else, so we don't have to worry about that. They do think of ethnicity. When these politicians talking about black, they talking about black. They talking about black American people. They're not talking from
Absolutely.
a racial
But I'm saying,
standpoint.
but they are though. When you think about it, when you ask anybody, they're talking about black as a race identifier. We're so engrounded in black that we have to now make the state claim to say that these are foundational black Americans versus black Americans, because now these immigrants are coming in and saying that I'm a black American as well because I'm black in America. And I
We,
think,
we we shouldn't
and
care what they say though. That's what
it's
I'm
not,
saying.
but
We
I'm also
shouldn't give a
saying,
damn. We
but
should
I'm
be
saying,
perfecting the
but I'm
record.
also saying that we shouldn't care about them trying to co-opt the space as well. So you can't have it both ways. You're saying that people are coming in and saying that Solon is being taken over by people because they're saying shit. We don't give a damn either. That's what I'm saying. But what I am also saying is that black is convoluted between race and ethnicity. So on a formal level, yes, we have freedmen. I stand behind freedmen. But if you also want it, and at this point, Solon is so popular that socially or informally, we can have that now as an option. We don't give a damn one way or the other about what people are really saying. And I think that is the reason why we come here to do this podcast, to do articles, so that it can now be used as doctrine going forward to say that, hey, this has come from the creator's mouths. It cannot be co opted because this is what they're saying. This is what T Roy is saying. This is what Midnight is saying. This is what Maroc is saying. It cannot be infiltrated because this we have made the claim for what it really means. It doesn't give a damn about what you said. There, Melvin's gone, right? Melvin made the Black American Heritage flag. He meant it for us, but yes, there are some people that are saying that, hey, trying to, you know, involve themselves in it as well and say that, hey, I'm a Black American because, I'm in America. But what we're saying is that we're defining it even more so than what Melvin did. You have to be a descendant of slavery in America. You have to be a freedman, right? So we're making sure that it's super tight now in 2024. That's it. Respectfully. Um, was there anybody else? I think I saw somebody else, but he dropped down.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, before we move on, what y'all think about the the outcast, that Starconia flag? It's called Stankonia, but I call it Starconia. What y'all think about that?
What's that exactly? Is that
It's basically the USA flag that's black and white, I think, or black and gray, something like that.
versions or alternates to the Solon flag? Is that what you're saying?
Nah, not really. To the Soulan flag is just another flag. Cause like Black Americans, we have so many fucking flags, but I've only taken like what one, two, like three of them.
Oh, got
But
you.
yeah,
Oh, the Stankonia flag. Yeah, yeah, it's associated with Outkast and that album. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with that as well. Again, as long as certain things are just, um, wrapped up real tight, and we have exactly what it means behind whichever we're talking about. Hey, and again, when it comes to the flag, um, again, it's just another option. The Solon flag, I think it solidifies what we're doing with it going forward. You want to use it? Cool. If you don't, cool. It don't matter. I still use the Black American Heritage flag. I still use the American flag as well. The American flag is still ours. You have to remember Grace Wisher, if not other Black Americans that were involved, and the fact that the American flag literally has blue in it. I mean, not to be disrespectful, but we all know who was incorporating indigo or cultivating it, I should say. Let it be known.
Oh, hey, hi. I wanted to get the definition of Solon and the history behind it. So you and Midnight. No, it's not you, but you're the actual creator of this name
We're
brand.
we all have aspects as to how it came about eventually, but T. Roy is the original creator.
And so, what is the definition?
So American.
Who is a soul American though? What is who is it meant to represent?
Well, as you know, nobody else on the earth is synonymous. Like basically, the soul term is synonymous to the black people that are descendant of slaves and Americans specifically. So we took on this term, long before anyone, and everybody around the world knows that we are the soul people. So that's best to explain your question.
Yeah, because I heard what DJ Big A was saying, and I also am on TikTok and see the youngins on there, and I also am concerned with just how thirsty all the tethers are, and it just felt like you know Solon is very cool. Of course it is, because why? Who created it? But I just see how these other churns are attracted to that, and so in a sense, my take on it was that it sort of left a door open, is like a loophole for them to slide on in, and you probably have already heard that basic concern about that. I don't have an issue with, and nobody asked me if I did, but I don't necessarily have an issue with Solon. And in fact, on my TikTok, when I first saw it, I picked up on what it was, but I had never seen a true explanation. I even have it on my one of my TikTok accounts. So the concern that I have has probably already been voiced, that we want to make sure that we keep the gate up on it. I appreciate it. And I just want to say that I'll make sure that I keep listening. And I put something in the purple pill, which is from our submission to the OMB. And I think somebody already mentioned the other names that we already have. And it's not that we're trying to get rid of them, but we don't want even a name like African American to be used by others. So I'm gonna go on mute. But that's my submission. Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. To be clear, as much as a lot of us in a lot of Black American circles, as much as we don't regard ourselves as African American anymore, it is still ours, and we're still claiming it. We still have a lot of history behind it. A lot of bones have been built with that name. So we're not, from my perspective, and what I've been largely hearing from my Black American family, is that we, as much as we don't like it socially, formally, it is still going to be a part of our lineage as well.
Well, we could say that, but they got Barack Obama listed as African American, first African American president. Just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Just for, and what I mean by that is more for historical reference. We are not giving it up just off the basis of it. Just again, I'm all about having things be less convoluted. So if we come in and we just allow it to be taken over or given to someone else, who's to say years later that they usurp that identity to say that, hey, that was actually them, as opposed to the freedmen who were fighting for civil rights, who were a part of the Seminole Wars, who were X, Y, and Z. I think it's very important just to historically keep that in mind.
Well, they took the time to change all our history over to African American. If you pull up anything, they gonna refer to us as African American. So I'm not of the I don't want to hang on to the name at all. I wish it would be retired. Um, just like they changed all our history over, we could change it back over to whatever the hell it was. I just don't understand why people want to hang on to that name. It's disrespectful. It's still pretty new. So I don't even understand why people fight so hard to try to keep it attached to us. I don't get it.
I would say it's definitely a lesson to be learned with the whole African American term, and I would say we would have to keep it around only because it's already been embedded within us. So once a name or a certain term is embedded within us, it's literally no way you can like get rid of it, or if you try to get rid of it, it will be co-opted like as we see today. Um, like it's records and everything that's got the label African American under it. Like imagine if we would like rebranded ourselves to something completely different and just forgot about the term. Who would say that years on the past when we're dead and gone, that they would be claiming he or she as something else of a different ethnicity? That's why things like this, it should all go in the bundle and we should all claim it all and be very protective over it.
I don't know if y'all hearing me clearly or not, but Sheila Jackson Lee, Barack Obama, and many countless others who is not of our lineage are classified under African American. So again, I'm saying this name is new. They took the time out to change all our history. When you look up stuff about our history, they're gonna say African American when it didn't say that before, even in old text and all that type of stuff. So again, I'm curious to why some of our people are so attached to this name. I just don't get it. Just like they went and changed it to African American, they could change our history back.
We what I'm saying is that we are retiring it. I think most of us don't even think of it. Matter of fact, uh socially when we're out and about, in these Twitter spaces, anybody who even mentions African American AA, our antennas go up. We automatically correct them to say no, it's actually Black American or what have you. Retiring it is still claiming it historically, though. I don't think we should be getting rid of it historically. And if we just get rid of it outright, do you think that it should just be handed over to the continental Africans?
No, it shouldn't be handed over to anyone. It needs to be dead
That's what we're
altogether.
saying, though. It should be retired.
Yeah,
That's what we're
but
saying.
Yeah, I would
but
say like
yeah.
if we were to retire such a term, you cannot dead it because it's already been popularized. Even if you try to like actually dead it.
Not really though, bro. Because most black people feel a certain type of way if you refer to them as African American, and that's just a fact. Like, look, I'm from Texas. I live in Oklahoma. People don't use that fucking term. Okay, these are black people. That's what they gonna tell you. They gonna say that person is African. That person is Jamaican. We black.
Exactly.
That's what they
I'm
gonna
in
say.
Northern California.
So
I'm in
so
Northern California. We
so
don't
we
even
are
use
not
African American. We use
yeah,
black.
we not attached to that word like that. And most people find it offensive. They look at it as some racist shit. It's just like white people just trying to give us some shit to take us away from the shit we built. That's how they see it. So a lot of people are not attached to that word like I think they are.
Right. I think you're might be a little bit. I just want to be clear here. 100% clear. We're not claiming it socially. We're not claiming it socially.
Listen, we
We're
shouldn't claim it
retiring
at
it.
all. That's what I'm telling.
We're
Look,
we're
we
claiming it
shouldn't claim it at all.
historically because if someone wants to come about and then claim it and then they go about in our governments and change our policies to where they want to now be referred to as African Americans from the continent and usurp the identity going forward, I don't think that's okay either. President, did you have, or I think I'm sorry. Let me just go to One Love first because she was here first. Here.
Hey Marco, hey Midnight, and shout out to the room, to all the descendants in the room. So I wanted to just provide some context because I understand and I can appreciate where DJ A is coming from. But to the point of reference for African American, the term is actually not a new term, it's actually an old term. And it's an old term for all the history buff heads who actually have records of the term actually being used. The reason why the Push Coalition, Jesse Jackson, and a lot of the back then in LA and around the country, those who were, more of unity, Pan African based politics at the time when they wanted to move from a Negro to a new term, that term actually was dug up from the dust. And it was an old term. It's an ancient term, actually, put together by um, the colonies who actually have it written in documentation. It is actually also written in HR 613, which actually defines who the freedmen were on top of the terms as time transcends. So we have different classifications in the social construct of what Marco's talking about and how we identify. Most Black Americans do not like the double nationality. They don't. And it does not mean that just because we don't like it, that you cannot recognize historically where these classifications come from. And so, dating something and then talking about it from a historical standpoint is fine. You don't have to twist someone's arm to get them to not say the word, because again, everything under the umbrella of this country that was designed and built and recorded for the descendant community belongs to the descendants. And so you should be okay with having that conversation and correcting people, because the people who come into the country now, who try to classify themselves as African American, the OMB has already specifically given them their lane to not have to do that. It's specifically giving them their titles from their nationalities and where they come from ethnically as well. They get to be classified as Nigerians, so on and so forth. So when we talk about the AA community, you already know you're talking about Black Americans, foundational, ADOS, Freedmen. You know who you're talking about. You're not talking about Nigerians, Somalians, and all these other people. So I think we have to find a way to get around wanting to remove so many different things and not realizing that there are points of reference that you're going to need to look to in order to finish this fight. That's important. So I'm going to lay that there. And again, you guys are grown. You can do whatever you want. I'm just going to give you my recommendations and the things that I've seen and what I've read and what has been uncovered, I should say, during the process and going through reparations, going through even being a part of the Black History Committee. I'm here in Virginia. If you are not in those types of spaces in your own, like join an organization that's what they do. They uncover preservation in your state and city, and you will start to find so many different things that will blow your mind. It really, really will, and it'll help you to figure out how you want to interchangeably recognize not just yourself, but actually start to have the conversation about the information that we've that has been put into our social lexicon now. I don't like the what Push did at the time, and what Jesse Jackson did at the time with the Push Coalition, because they wanted to have the more global conversation. So they utilized African American wanting to move away from Black or Negro because they didn't like those terms. But now that you have a different generation wanting to have the conversation of and identify who the descendants are, we should be able to know what these classifications are. And if you want to know the truth about it, if you didn't know that we were actually classified as contraband, that was a classification too. So I think it helps us to have these conversations. They're healthy, and don't take nothing to heart, because you know who you are, and you choose how you want people to represent you, and you have the conversation, and that's fine. So I'm gonna land it there. Peace, love, and always reparations for the descendant community. And I'll go down and listen.
Absolutely. And she just mentioned other nomers that we've had as well: Negro, colored, Moors, even Indian. Even again, you have to be clear about what that really means. When people are generally called something to the general demographic of a particular continent. That is what their nomer is, and that's what uh, they've just been associated with. Whether I or anybody else likes African American historically, I think it should still remain. But again, it is going to be formally retired in that aspect. Um, Mel, you want to go?
Yeah, peace to y'all, man. I just want to say uh, that African American misnomer, it wasn't added until the U.S. Census until the year 2000. The year 2000 is when they first added that label on us on paper. So it is a new term. It might have been in a pamphlet in 1849 or somebody might have said it in 1848, but it wasn't put on us as a collective until the year 2000. Jesse Jackson, he popularized that term in 1990, 1989, but it didn't get put on us as a collective until the year 2000. So to me, it's new. It's a new term, and they can have it. I look at Elon Musk as a African American. That me personally, they can have that term, or we can retire it. But I have one question for the host. How do you know if you're a Soulaani? Like, how can you like how can you prove it? Like, how can I prove that I'm a Soulaani? What is the qualifications to be one?
The same way you prove you're a freedman. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, but what if I don't have any Freedman paperwork? So how can I? You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Freedman. So how can I prove that I'm a Solani?
You're not a freedman?
No, I have no historical, no documentations that prove that I'm a Freedman. That's not who I am. I'm a Black American, and I can provide legal documentations as that.
Okay, you want to have a semantics war. Um,
No, I'm not. These are real. How is this semantics?
we are formally known as freedmen. That doesn't change. President, did you want to go?
Yeah, good discussion. I think that's a conversation y'all need to have without being heated because I'm trying to learn. We do know that. Let me say this: in regards to the term African American, it's offensive to me, and I think it should be thrown in the trash heap of history and burnt, lit on fire, and then buried underground, dug up in 1,000 years and lit on fire again. That's how I feel about that term. But it is a matter of the historical record. So you got to think in terms of when we're no longer here, how do we prevent our lineage from readapting that fucking term? Because it takes us away from this land, our land, and that's the offense of that term. It pretty much is cultural, ethnicide, erasure, all rolled in one. And I think that's why they did it. That's why it's so offensive to me. And we should not be using that term whatsoever. But it will be a part of the historic record. And I think we're going to have to get to the point where we pass legislation and also have it pushed down through the school systems and any other type of forms of media that yes, that was the term that applied to Black Americans only at one point in history. And when you see a reference in the books, that's who they're referring to and only them. And that's about as far as this should go. I hate that damn term, but I don't want. I'm gonna crash out on that. So I'm gonna let that. I'm gonna let that go. One more thing I wanted to add was, hey, I DM'd you guys. I need y'all to share that with Midnight since he's part of the co-creation of it, and y'all need to get on that right away if y'all have not done so. It's just that important. And I feel like if y'all gonna do this flag, maybe y'all should get some more input from your peers. I like the youth. I want the youth to spearhead this, like you guys are already doing, get some more input. I think it should be blended more. When you mentioned that steak on your flag, I thought that was dope. You could actually blend it something like that and make it more incorporated into the the Black American heritage symbol you have there from the Black American heritage flag, mix it in with the U.S. flag, which was designed by our ancestor Grace Wisher, and then put you know what I'm saying, put Soulan on it, like the stank on you has on there. Because I had to actually go back and check it out. I think if you put Soulan on there, it'll be fucking dope. That's just me. But that's all I got. Oh, African American sucks. Anybody that uses it should get punched in the face because I'm petty. And I win.
All right. DJ.
Yeah, I think Mel kind of covered. I
Oh,
don't gotta
Mel's
have my
first.
hand
Go
up.
ahead,
Yeah,
Mel.
yeah, yeah. Nah, he kind of covered what I was gonna say.
Oh,
Yeah, we
gotcha.
can we can. I really wanted the young lady to show me where black people were running around calling themselves African American and before the like 2000s, so and stuff like that. Because even when Jesse Jackson coined the term in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, nobody was running around calling themselves African American. That's fairly new.
Right. So I agree with you, DJ. Socially, we weren't really calling ourselves African American like that. I agree. Formally, we are known as African American, freedmen, colored, Negro, mulatto. These are former nomers. That doesn't change. So when Mel, if you're going to ask me the same question again, it doesn't change. Anything under that, these nomers or misnomers or former nomers is what we're talking about in regards to being a Black American. So and that's why I call it semantics, respectfully. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's all you say at first. Because if you were trying to say that in order to be a Solani, you got to be a freedman. I'm not a Solani. That's all I was getting at. I don't do semantics, but I'm a Black American. So you're saying a Black American and a Solani is synonymous? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay, then. That's okay. Then that's all you had to say. No
Okay,
semantics.
absolute. So yeah, in case anybody was not here from the beginning, and again, this is recorded for a podcast. I will be posting the podcast so that you can follow and go back and listen to the entire interview over. Um, for anybody late in the room, Solon does specifically mean for Black Americans. It is just a lineage based nomer. It is not for anybody else outside of you being a descendant of chattel slavery in North America, in United States of America only, mainland. I want to be specific here. Freedmen, mulatto, all of that, Negro, colored, Moor. If you have any of those former nomers, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I just wanted to speak on, say one more thing on the African American term, which I do agree with, Big A and the sister that just came up and, gave her thoughts on it. I think it should be dead, but it should be a protected term. It got to be a protected term. We cannot just let anyone just call themselves that, even though we're not. We never called ourselves that in the first place. Like we've always called ourselves black, you know, black American and things of that sort. But it should be a protected term if we were to dead it.
Absolute. One love.
Hey Marco, yes, DJ A, you said you needed some context. So I want to give you some context. Um, so there is documentation, as a matter of fact, even our you can go as far back as even our historical books, history books, the educational system. They all actually pull their information based off of historical record. I want to say 1782. 1782, African American institution, the term instituted to refer to the people who would essentially be known as the enslaved population. So again, I think when we're having this conversation, we're not really talking about like social, how we identify if we were to meet somewhere or go somewhere and be like, hey, that's my African American. No, I'm saying in records, on records, in writings, it is documented. So if you remove the term in that context, then who are you talking about when you see these words? So if we're talking about in the future, how will the next generation, I think to President's point, are how will they be able to recognize and identify who were the African Americans? Well, we know no other group has been given a double nationality. I heard you use Obama. The people who gave Obama and coined Obama the African American were Black Americans, calling him an African American. It's the same talking points that they're doing, trying to do with Kamala. and people are pushing back. But when you're having the conversation about records and what's actually in writings, you need to be able to identify who were classified as African Americans, where did that term originate, and how did it come about. So in that reference, then we should be able to have that conversation. Obama even said it himself when he was on one of his, I think, secretary, State of the Union addresses. He claimed he called himself the first African American, and then he said, "I'm Kenyan." So do you understand? So now you can identify that he's not necessarily calling himself the original or the descendants. He's telling you he's not one of us, but other people want him to play the role of one of us. So that literally this whole unity of inclusion conversation continues to happen. But the more and more we start to get educated and we start to be informed about our own history, we now can say, no, you're not. You were. You were an actual Kenyan. Your mother was from, her family was from Wichita, Kansas, by way of, I think the father was like, I don't know, it was Poland or something like that. There's some European. All I'm saying is, from the context of history and documentation and what's written, even in the school system, they are using terms like African American. Until we can get involved and have them put in the information of the classifications for us, right now we need to make sure that we are gatekeeping who they're talking about. So I don't call myself an African American. No one in my space has ever heard me call myself an African American, but I also can compartmentalize and I can recognize the different terminologies, and that's really it. So you can definitely, I can send you some information if you like, or point you in a direction, but it's out there. It's out there. So, and I just wanted to say that.
Again, I think the sister is missing the whole point of this. Our people never agreed with African American. I also put a poll. It's from the Gallup poll. It's from the Vaults. Okay, 1969. I'm not gonna read what it say. I'll let y'all do that on your own, so it won't be no misunderstanding about what our people want to be called. All right. African American was never one of those on the table. That was literally forced on our people. It was forced on records. And like I said before, okay, when we used to read the history books, they never had it as African. Even when I was in school, they never had black people listed as African American in the books. Okay, now you go look up black history, it's gonna say African American. So just like they forced it on us, we can force it up off us.
All right, and JJ, did you have a inquiry or a question or comment?
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay. All right. So if we are gonna, if there's no more questions, we are gonna wrap this up. Again, thank everybody for coming in the space. Again, this is going to be on the podcast, Straight Facts Podcast by Maroc Artists. We'll be posting up clips as well. It'll be a two-part for this particular topic. One for all the general questions about what Solon means, yada yada yada, and then this portion of it that which incorporated the audience as well. Thank you for coming in. Salute.
Find full episodes of the podcast featuring straight facts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, check out our Instagram for more Maroc Orist content, including the shop and our subscription service for exclusives. Peace, Mer. I'm on Maroc.